this might be a long one.
Yeah.
Okay, we're live, so it should be.
All right.
Let me know when you see it, and I'll start yakking.
I got it.
All right. 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of BS with CSR. Lots to talk about again this week. Drama in the UFC. Brock Lesnar's back in the main event. We got to beat up John Cena. We got to talk the final deletion and everything that entails. I mean, because cinematic masterpiece. And then there's been some BS in the world this week, and we're going to get to that at the end of the show. We'll save that for the very end for you. But with me, as always, is Shane Shoemaker. Shane, a lot of stuff going on this week, but you got to start with the huge news that broke last night. Jon Jones showed us all his jackass side again, and now 3 days before the biggest event in UFC history, UFC 200, the main event is gone because Jon Jones apparently, we don't know for what yet, but got popped for a possible doping violation by USADA, which is just considering everything that this guy's gone through between testing positive for coke a year ago, then the wreck, and all this crap. It's just insane that this guy would possibly do something like this again.
Well, you know, we say it's insane, but I mean, does it really surprise anybody? I mean, I when I saw it, I was surprised. Obviously, I mean, it took me by shock just because I couldn't believe, you know, like you said, it's the biggest UFC card of all time, and you know, 3 days before, and he's out. You know, a main event that's already basically been changed twice now. So, you know, with McGregor and all that going down, and now this. So, you know, UFC's had to do a lot of this lately. You know, they've lost a lot of its stars, kind of. You know, with Ronda not knowing when she's ever coming back, and McGregor kind of complaining, you know, about money or this or that, and then Jones, who is also arguably the biggest star in UFC, he has all of his legal trouble, and now this. But man, how bad do you feel for Cormier here? I mean, like this dude. I mean, I've heard they said he's going to be making the same money and he is going to fight, but man, how bad do you feel for this guy though? I mean, this guy's. I mean, that was his star match. That was his star bout.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel bad for that guy because basically, I mean, if these guys never fight, which I think is a distinct possibility right now with this, they say Jones might get suspended for 2 years because of this. Yeah. Cormier's 37 or 38, so I mean, he might be on his way out by 2 years from now. Mm-hmm. This is always going to be an asterisk in Cormier's career that he may wind up being, I think he's 17, 18-1, something like that. He may be 22, 23-1, but he'll go down as the second best 205er of all time, but just the best was just a jackass and couldn't keep his head straight.
Yeah, so I mean, like you said, it's an asterisk to his career, and I just can't believe, this fight has only happened once, correct? Is that right? It's only,
yes.
And so, and it was delayed so many times. Then Cormier, hurt his leg, I believe, and just, this is one of those things that's gonna sadly may define his career because I'm sure tomorrow, Saturday, whoever he faces, he's gonna be he might be so pissed off he just obliterates them. I mean, I'm assuming, but
I think that's a definite possibility that he just. I mean,
yeah,
he'll mow through whoever. I mean, Daniel's honestly one of the. He's a damn good fighter. I mean, damn good.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think there's a good chance. Although I will tell you that they haven't confirmed it yet, but word on the rumors going around is that it's quite possible that the person that stepped up to fight him is Anderson Silva.
Wow, that would be a huge matchup. I mean, that would be a way.
That's a way to kind of that's the way for the UFC. I don't think at this point in his career, Anderson Silva. I think Cormier beats Anderson Silva at this point in Silva's career, but that's still. Silva comes with the star power that completely switches the momentum of this thing where people aren't talking about the fact there are people are like, holy shit, Anderson Silva.
Yeah, I mean, again, you got one of those arguably one of the best in UFC history. Again, I mean, he's a name, he's a star, in UFC. So I could now that would be a interesting way. I mean, that'd be an interesting way to kind of rebook some of this UFC 200. So I don't know, I'm still going to order it.
Absolutely.
More likely, but man, it did. I mean, it struck me too, man. I was like, I don't know if I want to get them. I still want to see Brock, obviously, but I mean, that was, they built their whole show like that big promo, that commercial, which is amazing, by the way.
Absolutely, it is.
What was built all around Cormier and Jones there. So, it's a big hit.
Yeah, unfortunately it is. And, did you see any of Jones's press conference this morning?
No, I was following Ariel Helwani on Twitter, and he was giving kind of some of the quotes he had to say. How he said that basically, he doesn't believe he took anything. He's going to check all the things he took. But, and I heard he sounded pretty sincere with it and legitimate. Of course you never can tell, but, they said he looked pretty down and out about it.
He's crying.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty big. Again, what hurts him is all of his past, though. I mean, you can't. I mean, so that's why you're like, okay, yeah, right, dude. You knew what you were probably taking here, but so it's good. What's going to really suck is if it comes out that he really didn't do it. That's what's going to be really bad. So.
Well, here's my thing. You're at that level in the UFC. You know how in depth the USADA testing is.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you take anything that might even come close to popping? And I know they say, the deal with Adam Rose in the WWE, Adderall, he popped for Adderall. But why would you take, unless you absolutely needed it and you had a doctor's prescription for it and cleared it, why would you take anything that you're not absolutely positive will clear the test?
Yeah.
I don't think, my honest opinion, and I could be proven wrong here in a couple of weeks or whenever this service is, I bet you it's not anything like steroids or human growth hormone or anything like that. I mean, if it is, he's gone.
Yeah.
But it's not that he tried to cheat. It's that he was a dumbass and didn't clear something. When you're that high-caliber athlete and you're making millions of dollars, make sure you got all your shit in line. Make sure you're going to freaking, get everything together, and you're not going to fail a drug test like a dumbass.
I also wondered, I actually wrote about this today, I mean, how educated are these guys really when it comes to that stuff? I mean, I know they're supposed to be, but they've got these big camps, they pay these guys like the nutritionists and doctors and all that. And, they're, I mean, who knows? I wouldn't be the same way, my doctor just said, hey, by the way, take this, you got to take this for that. I mean, I wonder how educated he is to that, or any fighter for that matter, how educated they really are to the stuff they're supposed to be taking and not taking.
Well, I think that's my point is when you're at that level, you have no excuse but to not be educated.
Yeah. I mean, you have to. It's a huge part of the business.
It's a gigantic part of it. I mean, you're the number one guy in the sport, arguably. You better have your shit together. And this guy doesn't. And now at 28, he's probably facing a 2-year suspension. And yes, he's going to come back. And yes, he's probably going to come back to the UFC. But at that point, after everything he went through last year and then this, is he really going to have a big following anymore? Is he really going to be the kind of star he is now? No. Look at Anderson. Speaking of Anderson Silva, look at him after he had to sit out a year for freaking whatever that crap, or 6 months for like Viagra or some crap. I mean, Anderson isn't the draw. After a couple of losses in that suspension, he's still Anderson Silva, but he's not the draw he was, 3 years ago. Whenever, I mean, it was, oh my God, Anderson Silva's fighting. That's must watch.
Yeah. I think he will still be that, at least if and when he comes back, he'll still have that first draw about, okay, let's see what he's got. But UFC can't trust him anymore. I mean, they can't book him in a major headlining event. I don't see how they could. I mean,
well, they'll book him in an event, but I mean,
well, yeah, not major.
Here's my thing is, let's say this is some kind of performance enhancing drug, and he has to sit out 2 years. Does he come back to the UFC after that?
Ugh.
I mean, is he just done?
Yeah, I don't.
Well,
I
I
don't
mean, you say this 2 years. Bellator's signing tomorrow.
Well, that's true. Yeah, and they'll put him in any fight or they don't care. But
Right.
yeah, I could see. I mean, I could see him come back, but it would be I don't know. It'd be dicey.
I have to say it now, but I was going to make a horrible joke because they put him against the ghost of Kimbo Slice.
I was thinking Kimbo Slice something, but I was like, I'll leave you to that.
I can't believe it just popped. It popped into my head, so now it's on the internet for the rest of my life.
Oh yeah.
Well, the new main event of UFC 200 is freaking Brock Lesnar versus Mark Hunt, which is so crazy to me that here's 5 weeks ago we learned about this for the first time. Brock randomly coming back. Now, not only is he back in the UFC, but he's the main event of the biggest event in their company's freaking history.
Always trust Brock Lesnar, especially if you pay him. So,
absolutely. But it's just crazy to me that now we're looking at Brock, who's been in the WWE. Now he's going to be the main event of a UFC pay-per-view. And I'll tell you what, I bet you there's a man in Stamford, Connecticut that's happier than hell about this because he knows he's about to make a bunch of money off of it.
Is it a little bittersweet for him, though? Because he's got to be thinking, too, Brock's getting in the main event. But also, I've got to worry about Brock possibly wanting to do this kind of full time again.
Well, and that's the deal. Like, I don't think you're ever going to see him do it full time because he's almost 40.
Yeah.
And I mean, the WWE's not going to let him do it full time.
Mm-hmm.
They'll lock him up in court.
Yeah.
And UFC, if WWE locks him up, and I've seen what the UFC does. Rampage Jackson tried to go back from Bellator to the UFC, and they wouldn't use him because Bellator locked it down in court. And if WWE did the same thing, UFC wouldn't use him. Now, with that being said, he does have to, if Brock wins Saturday, in the main event of UFC 200, there's going to be a big-time demand for him to come back and maybe fight, early part of 16 or late in 15 again. That's where I don't think you have to deal with Brock fighting full-time, like 4 or 5 times a year like some of these guys do. But I do think you have to come to the table and deal with the fact that you're probably going to have to negotiate with Brock for another fight and figure out a way to let him, his schedule to let him fight again. But from that standpoint, if he doesn't ever get hurt, I think there's big benefits for the WWE to let him fight in UFC.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's again, it always goes back to the thing, what if he does get hurt? But again, stays healthy. I mean, WWE's raking it in too. I mean,
because here's the deal. I mean, we've heard rumors of it. I fully expect Saturday to hear that familiar theme music we're all used to when Brock rocks to the ring. He ain't rocking. He used to walk to the ring to a Metallica song, I believe, back in the day. He's walking to the ring to his WWE theme song. I wouldn't be 100% shocked if Heyman's walking into the ring too.
Well, I could have swore I saw something that he wasn't coming with him to the ring.
He might not, but I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that wasn't confirmed. I was just saying I thought I might have saw something, but yeah, I think that'd be great. I mean, personally, I would. But
I guarantee he's coming out to his WWE theme song. Guarantee that. I would.
Yeah.
I would be absolutely shocked if that does not happen.
Yeah. I'm interested to see who all is around ringside. Actually, just actually, if there's a lot of WWE people, like just to see who's there. Honestly, I mean, you got to figure probably Austin's going to be there. Just a couple of guys.
I know Rock said, I listened to a podcast Rock did, and Rock said that if he was trying to work his filming schedule around to where he could fly out there.
Yeah.
I think there's a good chance Undertaker's there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then I think there's a good chance that Randy Orton's going to be there.
That would be nice too. I would love to see Vince there. I doubt he's I'm sure he's doing whatever, but it'd be pretty interesting Vince sitting out there. I mean,
the only person that we can probably guarantee that's not going to be there is Stephanie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Since she said that she doesn't really support it, and Brock's words were, "I don't really give a shit what she thinks."
Well, first of all, Brock has had the greatest quotes in the past 2 weeks than he's had probably in the past 2 years. I mean, this guy can't cut a promo in WWE because he can't cut a promo in WWE.
Which is so weird because he's so good in the UFC. He is so good at that.
Well, so I'm getting at, he can't cut a promo in WWE because he can't literally, because he cusses like a freaking sailor, but he's hilarious though. I mean, and he only says like 5 words.
Charismatic.
Yeah, he only says 5 words, but it's the best 5 words you can possibly say to get himself over. I mean, he's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, all the interviews he's doing this week, and I've watched them all. He's funny. He's charismatic. I mean, he's great. You get him in the WWE, and he's with a mic, and he's awful.
Oh yeah, the best one I saw was possibly, I think some guy asked him when he started to feel the effects of like his diverticulitis, and Brock just nonchalantly picked up the microphone and was like, probably like day 49. And he's like, who gives a shit? He's like, I'm fucking awesome, so just
right. Yeah, he's I think that's the first time I've ever heard you say the F word, by the way.
Yeah, well, I've let it slip a little bit there, so Brock made me do it, so
kind of caught me off guard there. Speaking of Randy Orton, you're gonna find out tonight on SmackDown that Randy Orton is Brock's opponent at SummerSlam in August. I don't know how I feel about this, honestly. From a matchup standpoint, I think Orton is a believable match in the world of WWE with Brock, but I don't know if it's just because of what he's done the last, basically since WrestleMania 30. I'm just kind of meh on Randy Orton, and I would rather the Randy Orton Brock match just doesn't do a lot for me from a WWE standpoint. I'd rather see him fight a Roman Reigns again in the physicality of that match, or Bray Wyatt, or somebody like, I don't know. I'm not a big Kevin Owens fan like a lot of people are as far as that match, but something like that, I don't know. I'm sure it'll be good, but just general, off the top of my top thoughts, I'm not a big fan of this.
Well, the only reason why to me this is happening is because he's the really only marketable guy left. I mean, big time marketable, that you can put him in there with that, like, especially coming off this UFC 200 deal. I mean, you got to have someone that's like a big name. I mean, I love Owens and I love a lot of those other guys too, but, and he's already faced Cena multiple times, so you can't put him against Cena again.
I don't think it's that as much as it's the circumstances of the brand split, because the brand split starts in 2 weeks. So you're going to have, Owens versus Cena if they're both on SmackDown, and Reigns versus, Rollins for the Raw Championship, and Ambrose versus Styles for the SmackDown Championship. Mm-hmm. Orton's not going to be on TV yet, so it works out and Lesnar's not going to be a part of a brand split. Lesnar's just going to come do whatever the hell he wants whenever he comes in. But I don't know. I just don't see, and that's, you say he's that marketable star. I guess I just don't feel like Randy is that marketable star anymore.
Well, I mean, I don't really either, but I mean, I know he's still, when he was there, he was still, as far as I know, he was still drawing decently well, and he still got a pop from fans. But I will agree that he was rather boring. He wasn't really doing a lot. And he hasn't really done a lot the past couple of years. I know, LeBar has said this stuff before too. Randy's faced like everybody already, and he's so young still. He's went through everybody, and and he's kind of flip flopped a lot too. Between face and heel, and when Randy's on, he's one of the best to watch, I think.
Absolutely.
But when there's nothing really for him, he's just god awful to watch. So what sucks is Lesnar's probably going to come in there more than likely and just destroy him.
Well, don't go. Yeah, hold on. So that leads me to the next question, and I'm going to ask you one of two ways, or I'm going to ask you 2 different ways. what it just off the top, you think he's just because I think the match is going to be solely determined by the outcome of UFC 200.
Mm-hmm.
Lesnar loses, I think there's a chance Orton could possibly win it in at SummerSlam. If Lesnar loses but shows well, I think you got a good match. Let's say Lesnar wins in the main event of UFC 200, I think you see John Cena versus Lesnar at SummerSlam 2.0, where he just absolutely makes Randy Orton look like a complete jackass.
Well, yeah, which
so you see the original trip to Suplex City again, where he just dominates him.
Yeah, which really sucks for Randy, because you got a guy coming off a big injury, and he needs to kind of be built back up again. I get it, he's still Randy Orton, and it's still a quote, big time match. But man,
although I don't know, as somebody that's about to have shoulder surgery probably in September, and Randy just came off of it, I don't know that I'd be the one to take a lot of German suplexes.
Well,
the back suplexes going to Suplex City and possibly landing back on my shoulder 15 times in a match.
But the thing is, they got to, if that happens, and if Brock comes in, he basically destroys Orton in there. Man, they need to book this really good, and they got to announcers, they're going to have to sell this for Orton, because what I'm getting at is, they're going to have to be like, Brock Lesnar just went in and manhandled Randy Orton, blah blah blah, however many time WWE champion. All of his accolades. They're going to have to build Orton basically back up. They're going to because you can't. That's going to be burying the guy again.
Well, and I'll tell you this: I don't want to see Orton until SummerSlam.
Yeah.
I want nothing but video packages of all the highlights of the dirtiest Orton's been, the meanest Orton's been, the Viper, the Legend Killer, just all that stuff. We need to feel like Randy Orton is an absolute badass when he walks out in the Barclays Center in August for SummerSlam, and he has a legit chance to beat Brock. And you can't. We don't need the traditional build. Not in this match. I want nothing but video packages.
Yeah, build it just like the UFC fight, basically.
Exactly.
Even have even go as far as doing like a little. Not on like Raw or anything like that. But if they want to do the press conferences for SummerSlam and stuff like that, I'm totally fine with that. But I'm like you. I don't really want them on. I don't want Randy on TV till SummerSlam though. Really.
I agree. Now let's talk a little WWE because I mean a little because Raw was absolutely god awful this week.
Well, it was a holiday episode, which they're always terrible.
The only thing about that food fight skit that was funny to me was Kevin Owens getting underneath the table.
Well, again, he tries to make good out of a terrible situation. That's what Owens does, and he was the only good part of that.
Absolutely.
Maybe Maurice in her dress. Maybe that.
Oh, good God Almighty!
Yeah, maybe that. So.
The Sasha Banks sketch. What am I talking about? Saturday Night Live. The Sasha Banks in-ring promo with Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Team World versus Team USA was one of the worst matches I've ever seen.
Well, I think our buddy JD from NY. I think he's used this quote before, but I think when that match was announced, he said, "This match is AIDS" or something like that.
Yeah.
I popped for that huge. I don't know why, but it was just it was hilarious. And that match was. I didn't want to see it either.
It was AIDS.
Yeah, it was terrible.
The only other thing on Raw that I guess I would say that I really liked was I thought it was a good piece of business to have Enzo and Cass come out and save John Cena.
Yeah.
Because it gets Enzo and Cass in a high-profile feud.
It does.
I take that back. And I still think that we'll talk about this for a second. And there's one other thing I just caught my eye that I remember too. So I do like that. And beat up John Cena is starting to really affect my brain. Like the first couple times I saw it, I was like, "Oh, this is stupid." Now I'm like, I'm loving it. I'm loving seeing. I'm gonna go take a crap, then I'm gonna beat up John Cena.
Well, even Styles really started again on Twitter that night when they left. He said, "I'm gonna go have Waffle House and hashtag going to beat up John Cena. I mean,
exactly.
Oh, stop! I mean, if there's not a hashtag beat up John Cena T-shirt, then
there better be.
They're missing out on millions of dollars, because that's. I mean, there will be so many people that buy that shirt. It'll be unbelievable.
And then today he was home by his pool and he said something like, "I'm just gonna lay out by the pool," and hashtag beat up John Cena. Yeah. And then Carl Anderson's got a good bit too with his hot Asian wife thing.
Yeah. I need to follow him. I actually don't follow him yet.
He responded with, "Hey man, I'm gonna grab the hot Asian wife and then come over and we can both hashtag beat up John Cena."
It's amazing how stuff like that gets over. I mean, it really is. I mean, I remember kind of watching it at the time and I was like, okay, that's kind of funny, and it's maybe, but then it just took off, and now it's an internet sensation. So.
All right, we gotta talk about Wyatt family versus New Day, because, and it's going to lead us into probably the major topic of the day outside of Jon Jones.
Oh, wow.
But I've been behind this Wyatt family New Day thing from the second show. The first show I was like, oh my God, what the hell? And then when you started seeing the thread with Woods, I really started to enjoy it. And I'm still really enjoying it. And I'm really enjoying the fact that we're going to get to go to the Wyatt compound finally. But
I know where you're
there
going.
are rumors going around that inside the WWE locker room, the final deletion, which we're getting ready to talk about, was so well received that people in the WWE are doing this Wyatt family New Day angle to kind of steal the thunder from it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really see it.
I'm not gonna lie to you. It did cross my mind when he said that, because when they were doing the whole promo and them at their compound and whatever, and then he's, we're going to, we've been invited to the compound. I was like, wait a minute, isn't the Hardys, doing the whole thing at their house? Again, I don't think it's going to be the same as Final Deletion went down. Again, we'll get into that, but it did cross my mind. And then, like, when I saw the report come out, I was like, wow. I was like, did people really pop for this that hard? And first of all, Vince McMahon would never know. He probably doesn't even know what Final Deletion is. He has probably no clue what Final Deletion is.
I bet he watched Pop TV Tuesday night.
Oh, he doesn't know what Pop TV is.
Brother me, bro. But I'm interested to see how this goes. And I still think that maybe not, long haul break up the New Day, but Woods has to get brainwashed and at least either do something to tear down the cost of the New Day, the tag titles, or join the Wyatt family temporarily or something. But we need to see Woods brainwashed by Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, I want to see, I like, because I don't know where this is going. And I just hope we have a decent payoff with it. And if the Wyatts are actually going to win something, because they usually never win any feud they're ever in. How do you think they're going to go about this whole Wyatt their housing complex thing? How do you think they're going to do this? I mean,
I don't know. I'm very interested, because I'm very interested from the standpoint of, I think it's going to be awesome because it's WWE. They got a hell of a budget.
Their production is off the charts. I mean, to me, at Battleground, are they not actually going to be? Is it not going to have a match for the New Day and the Wyatts at Battleground, or are we just going to have New Day traveling to the Wyatts?
See, I kind of got the impression that this was going down Monday on Raw.
And it may be. I don't know. I was kind of wondering. I mean, because I figured with WWE, they obviously want something, like, especially to build up a pay-per-view. They would want a match there. They wouldn't want to film something, off the side of the. I don't even know where Battleground is anyway. I'm not even sure where that's at.
Off the top of my head.
Yeah, so I didn't know if it was close to, like, somewhere in Louisiana or wherever they might film this, but I'll be interested to see how it goes down, though, and what kind of production they do with this.
Anything else WWE you feel like we need to talk about?
Only that, going back to Enzo Mid-Cast for a second, they're the only people I've ever been entertained by watching a Sonic promotion.
That was funny.
Yeah, they were the only ones I've ever been, like, they just need to be the ones who sell stuff for them all the time, because they're hilarious.
What do you got here? A cup of potatoes?
Yeah. PB&J, it's a classic.
All right. Enough of all this crap that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
One thing went down this week. The deletion of Brother Nero. They hyped it for a week. They hyped it for an entire week.
And I fell for it.
The final deletion. It was insane.
Yeah.
Overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought, and here's why. Not that it was, the acting was, let's just be real. The acting was awful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Matt Hardy's accent is insane. The wrestling, I almost wish they just staged a fight and didn't have a backyard wrestling match.
Yeah, that kind of felt weird.
But what I loved about it was different. You know, wrestling, I've talked about this in a couple of posts I've put on our website about this. Wrestling has become wrestling match in-ring promo, wrestling match backstage promo, wrestling match, and that's it. You know, the stuff we grew up on back in the day, and I don't want to go back to the Attitude Era, but you don't have any crazy things like Austin driving the beer truck or the corporate ministry or hanging Austin on the sign or all the random crazy stuff that went on, and this was a throwback to that. And that's exactly what TNA has to do. TNA can't be the status quo. They can't be Ring of Honor. They can't be WWE. They need to do stuff like this. And so from that standpoint, I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
I agree with you on that part because, you know, I'm going back and watching 2001 Raws right now and just seeing the stuff like, you know, even like The Undertaker's wife being filmed by DDP and all that stuff. I mean, you know, just off perimeter stuff from the actual, you know, backstage or in the ring, you know, it's fun. It's fun to watch, you know, because again, like I wrote about, wrestling is a TV show. It's not a sporting event. It's a TV show. So things should happen outside of that, outside of the ring to take place in the ring. So yes, I will give you that it was good from that standpoint, but I will never. I think I'll pretty much say for the rest of my life, Brother Nero. I will say that will be something that will be chanted at wrestling events for the next 10, 15 years.
It's over.
Yeah, I mean there's just no doubt that will be chanted for you. I mean, we'll be at WrestleMania next year and we'll be hearing Brother Nero chant.
Oh, there'll be Brother Nero signs.
Oh yeah. And first of all, we're gonna say this is the best thing Matt Hardy's ever done.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Okay,
without a doubt.
Better than version 1. In fact, he should have called it.
For me, some people, I thought I was never a fan of version 1.
I actually kind of liked it, but it was
a lot of people did. So, but for me, absolutely, this is by far the best thing he's ever done. Yeah.
I mean, just again, when I first heard that,
absolutely insane. And ridiculous, but it's still by far the best thing he's ever done.
Well, he went all in with it, and I give him respect for that. I mean, it's crazy some characters we've seen in wrestling. If you can go all in with a character, I'm with you for at least a little bit. But the drone part may have been my favorite part. We kind of discussed this before the show, and also Jeff Hardy swatting him away with a guitar. I mean, if you were to tell someone about this without them even knowing about wrestling, they would think you were on acid. I mean, because and the Hardys may be. Jeff's been a lot of stuff, I'm pretty sure. But I mean, I explained this to a guy, you know, at work the other day, and he was like, "You're making this up." Or I was like, "No, I'm really not. You need to go watch this. You need to find this and watch it because it's the most ridiculous thing you ever watched." But overall, terrible though. No, it was terrible. It was to me, this was graded on a curve because it was TNA. If WWE would have done something like this exact thing, they would have been just blasphemy for it. They would have been like torn to shreds. I'm telling you, this would have been like Mae Young hand type thing. I mean,
come on.
It really would have been. Again, because it's TNA and because they decided to take a chance, which I give that to them. They are like, you know, it was okay, you know, maybe they tried, they did their best. It was still terrible.
See, I thought it was good. I mean, I really did. I enjoyed it. I thought it was ridiculous, and it
It's a
was
good laugh. Yeah, it was a really good laugh.
I thought it was good. I thought the insanity of it was. I mean, and I thought it was good because it was different. It wasn't status quo, which is desperately what wrestling needs right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say there were a few things that stood out that were Matt Hardy's ridiculous accent. It's very hard to watch it without laughing.
His Gardner.
You know, that's rather. I don't know if that's a fact or not, but from what I've understood, that's Rebby's dad.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
But the insanity of his accent and the, oh my God, it's a wonderful xylophone. Prepare the battlefield for massacre.
Yeah.
The match, like I said, the match itself just wasn't good. I mean,
No. I mean,
and I get it. You don't want to, under the circumstances of what they were going for, you don't want to have this 5-star classic. But like I said, for me, I would have just rather seen them have a fight and thrown wrestling working punches at each other and just fought, as opposed to like working an actual match.
Yeah. Well, that I would have rather just watched them have a bottle rocket war the whole time, because that was fairly entertaining.
That was insane.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was fairly entertaining.
And then you have the one time that Matt Hardy completely lost his accent whenever he saw Jeff with the bottle rocket launcher,
which was great.
And he screamed, "Oh shit!" and took off running. And then, for me, by far the best line of the entire thing. He's taking off. Jeff's chasing him. You see this little like paddle boat or whatever, and Matt, while he's running for his life, screams out, "Oh, it's a dilapidated boat!" I don't know why, but just that popped me so huge, and I even put that on there, and I got retweeted by Dave Lagana, one of the TNA writers. I guess he probably wrote that line.
Probably
he retweeted me.
I forgot about the Willow part too.
Yeah, I thought that was cool, actually, because I did not expect it.
Well, I kind of shook my hand, and I still am, but it was one of those like, okay, but then it ends up being the gardener in the end and all that crap.
I thought that was really cool, actually, because that was just something that I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
In the middle of it, I expected just Jeff to pop out of the water, and then the Willow thing. I'm not a big Willow fan. I thought it was stupid whenever he came back a few years, whenever they pulled that character out a few years ago. But in the context of that, I thought it was just an interesting curveball. And then the other curveball of the gardener tases Willow, and you see Willow they have that kind of edit where Willow like takes him away, and then it's the gardener. So I thought that was really cool. But the absolute worst thing about this was the freaking ending.
Yeah, it kind of ruined the whole thing.
I won't go that far, but almost. I mean, it was bad. You have this, even though it was campy and it was ridiculous, what's supposed to be this epic fight, this epic feud, and then it ends with Jeff falling off a cymbal.
Yeah.
Even you could have, you had that fire there, and you even with some cheesy, cheap TNA graphics, you could have Jeff set on fire or something.
Yeah, kill him.
Something.
Delete him.
Exactly. He should have been deleted.
Yeah.
I'm just pinned and Matt standing over there doing this number.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, watching like any other wrestling outside of like WWE or something like Ring of Honor. You look completely ridiculous. But
what are you talking about?
But it's when like Ring of Honor, like they'll do these 800 flips and rolls and all this stuff and like crazy moves, and then the guy's finisher will end up being like a clothesline, and you're like, that was the finisher. So that it's kind of what that was with TNA. I was like, we've seen all this crazy stuff. You've jumped off trees and symbols. You've been drowned in water. Dilapidated boats, apparently.
Yes, dilapidated boats.
Yeah, and you.
Yes, but Matt stood with his triumphant pose.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, again, kill him. Obviously.
Now, here's the key thing as we go forward. even though it didn't end great, TNA went up 100,000 viewers in viewership, which isn't much, but for them, I mean, that's a for them that's a 25% gain.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what they need to do going forward, because they have. It's in a grand scale, it's not a lot, but for them, they have quite a bit of momentum going right now. They cannot go back to what we talked about a couple minutes ago: wrestling match, backstage promo, wrestling match, in-ring promo. They have to keep doing things like that, and I think you have to go somewhere like this. Matt Hardy has to open up the next Impact.
Yeah.
And he has to be broken Matt Hardy. That character needs to continue. He can't go back to normal Matt Hardy now just because he beat Jeff.
No, he has to stay in that character, and I don't know where they go with this him and Jeff feud.
Well, and that's the other thing you have to see. Like on Impact, I mean, you can get away with a week, but in the next couple of weeks, we need to know what Jeff. I guess he's just whether he's going to be the charismatic enigma or just Jeff now, or maybe Nero.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe that was part of the agreement. He has to be called Nero. But he can't be called Jeff Hardy anymore because Matt Hardy holds the Hardy name and the Hardy Empire.
We got to see where it goes with Jeff, but I mean, you've got to keep broken Matt Hardy. You've got to keep that character.
But that's my biggest thing. Is you have to keep building on this.
Yeah.
You cannot just say, hey, we did something really cool. All right. Keep the ball rolling because, I mean, are they going to challenge WWE? No, they're not ever going to be competition for WWE, but they've got a lot of positive momentum for the first time in years right now.
Yeah, they've got that good thread with Matt Hardy right now. Again, but the rest of the show, I don't know if you watched the rest of the show. I didn't like the rest of the show that much. I thought there were some things that were okay. I still think Matt Bennett is good.
Mike.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Mike Bennett. Sorry.
TNA fan, you are.
Oh, well, yeah. That was the first time I'm watching like years. But Bobby Lashley's good.
Bobby Lashley's great.
Yeah, it's really hard to pay attention like that. But
Matt Hardy pose. That's what I stand in front of the mirror for like 10 minutes every morning, just doing that triumphant Matt Hardy pose.
I do not doubt that in the least bit.
With no clothes on.
Oh, okay. I'm done.
Yeah, it just got weird.
I'm done. I'm tapping out on that one. So, but overall, the TNA still is not good. The Option C thing is the worst thing ever. I don't know if you are a fan of that or not.
I didn't watch. No, I'm not a huge fan of it, but.
But again, I don't know where they're going with this. Do we give Broken Matt the title back? Do we put the title back on him?
I don't know because you gotta. I don't know where you go with Broken. I don't know. That's the thing. You have to do something with it, but I don't know what you do with Broken Matt next.
Yeah. It's kind of.
I almost feel in a way like they may have painted themselves into a corner with Broken Matt.
Yeah.
So I'm torn. I don't know what you do with it. I don't know, but I think you have to figure out something.
They have their. It's not a pay-per-view, but what is the? They have their next show.
That's next.
That's like okay. So I don't know the plans for that. I don't know if there's, first of all, I don't know if they're not taped out anymore. Are they? Are they taped?
I think they have tapings coming up like maybe this weekend.
Okay. But that's why I was just wondering where they might try to go because I'm like you, I'm clueless. I don't know what they're gonna do with him, but they gotta keep the momentum going with that.
I'm gonna ask you one simple question. As much as you say it's terrible, did the final deletion do enough to at least make you tune in next week to see where it goes?
No. It didn't.
It did me.
I mean, maybe there's a slight bit, but it's one of those like, you know what? I'm going to check the maybe the spoilers here or the results to at least see what happened. It's not enough to make me like record, TNA by any means.
Oh, I'm going to watch it live.
Well, you're a mark. So I'm just gonna rely on.
Wow. Okay.
You're just gonna. I'm gonna rely on you telling me.
No, if anybody's a mark, it's you because you subscribe to the wrestling match. Nothing but wrestling fans.
Hey, whatever. Yeah, I'm just saying. You're the mark. You like TNA. Only true marks like TNA. We'll watch TNA. I don't have time.
I've only watched TNA because of Broken Matt Hardy.
Well, again, it somewhat intrigues me. I kind of want to know, but I'm not enough to record it.
All right. Well, since we've been on YouTube, a lot of people don't know, but we like to do. I mean, BS is in our name. You're obviously full of a lot of BS.
Full of it.
But we like to talk about the BS of the week, and I'm telling you, man, there's only one thing that I've seen right now that is just complete. I'm so over. And Vince is a friend, but I'm so over this Vince Russo, Jim Cornette garbage.
Aren't we all? Yeah.
I mean, it got brought up on Vince's show. Cornette talked about Vince on his show. Vince offered to go on Cornette's show, offered to have Cornette on his show, offered to have Cornette on, to do a show with Jim Ross and Cornette. All this stuff to squash their beef. Cornette says, I'm going to effing kill you. I hate you. You're an effing piece of crap. You did this. You did that. You killed WCW. You killed TNA. You killed Owen Hart. I don't know what else he accuses him of. Mm-hmm. And then so Vince decides he was going to come up with some idea to where they would do this mutual thing and they would give all the proceeds to the Cauliflower Alley Club. And I saw tweets from Cornette today just cussing Vince out again. It's like, man, I get it. I know how the wrestling business goes. You say whatever you can to keep yourself relevant, to keep yourself making money, but just let this crap go. I don't give a damn if Jim Cornette wants to kill Vince Russo. I don't give a damn if Jim Cornette's lying, Vince Russo's lying. I don't care, man. Y'all just do your own thing and just quit talking about each other. It's getting old hearing this crap all the time.
Yeah, and, it seems to me like Cornette is almost just working this whole thing just because he's got that.
They're both working it.
Well, they're both working it. I'm not denying that. But, I mean, I've heard things about Cornette before. I think I've heard the Young Bucks talk, because obviously he hates the Young Bucks, but – like, I think they said when they ran into him, not too long ago, I heard this on a podcast. I think it was Jericho's, and they were like, they said Cornette kind of came up to him, was like, hey guys, what's going on? And they were like, what? Why are you talking? You hate us. Why are you talking to us? So, it just seems to me like Cornette, again, like you said, to stay relevant, and that he's in this old school mentality of the business has to be a work 24/7. Let's just keep working them. That I hate Vince Russo. I'm not saying he probably doesn't hate Vince Russo. I'm just saying he's just working everybody to death on this to basically sell it.
And Vince is smart. Vince is smart enough to know that anybody, even if it's negative, if they're talking about him, that means people are probably going to his website. People are probably listening to his podcast one shows. And if his numbers go up, he makes more money. I mean, they're both working the system. Mm-hmm. And I'm just over it, man. Just stop already.
Yeah, I just wish, on Russo's case, I just wish he would stop complaining how people don't like him. Dude, you're on the internet. People are going to dislike you.
I mean, look at you. People don't know who you are and people don't like you.
Exactly. I mean, I piss off people like Taz and I didn't even know it.
Yeah, and you pissed off some magazine by
Yeah, which, by the way, a quick note on that. I don't know if you saw that. Did you see where The Rock and Taz got into it a little bit today? Did you see that?
Yeah, what was that about?
Apparently something which The Rock does so many things that I can't keep up with it. It might be on his new YouTube channel, but he's got something coming out like every Wednesday is going to be Hump Day something's what it's called. You listen to Taz's show. don't you?
I used to, not in a long time. Hump Day promos.
Oh, that's it. Well, Taz tweeted at him basically and said, hey, I've been doing this for the past 2 years. No one noticed. Thanks a lot, Rock. Basically, you can go find the tweet. Rock just came out and said, which he was nice about it, but then to me, it was a little bit of a dig. But he goes, dude, I didn't even know you had a radio show. So he's like, dude, I didn't know you had a radio show, man. You should have texted me. You should have called me, man. Let's talk. So, Taz is, if we're both doing BS moments a week, well, this is mine then, because Taz is a butthurt individual. Apparently,
yeah. I mean, I didn't know about this, but just it seems like Taz is very sensitive and does get butthurt real easily.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I wrote. You know how insignificant I am? And he got, seriously.
Well, you kind of are an a-hole, though.
Yeah, I embrace that, though. And,
and you said the F word earlier.
I did say the F word. So
I think that's really the first time I've ever heard you cuss in almost a year of doing shows with you.
Well, I'm sure there'll be more to come. If ever, like Bret Hart get mad at a video game, how do we not think about this, too? So,
Bret Hart, that's another guy. There might now that we talk about this stuff, there's just a lot of BS this week. I'm so tired of Bret Hart, man.
Yeah, Bret Hart got upset over Triple H having a higher rating than him in a video game. Think about that for a second.
Bret Hart just needs to go. Bret Hart needs to go away, man.
Yeah. I mean, he said Triple H get laced in his boots, and he never really contributed. But this, to me, that goes back to he's just not forgiving Triple H at all. That's just it. So
yeah,
lots of BS. Lots
and lots of BS this week. So what we got? All right, real quick before we get out of here. As my phone goes off.
Okay, yeah. Nuclear attack here.
Let's Saturday night. Does Brock win or does he lose?
Ooh, I just don't know a lot about Mark Hunt. I hear he's an incredible striker though.
Not that he's like some sophisticated striker. It's that the guy can just drops bombs. If he connects with you, you're going out.
I'm worried because Lesnar hasn't been. Apparently, he said he's only been trained like maybe 6 weeks, if that. Brock is a freak of nature, but UFC is just a totally different game, man. I'm going Hunt. I'm going Hunt. And I don't like making that pick either.
I'm going to go Brock just because if Brock's healthy, Brock's a freak athlete, and I think that's going to win out.
Yeah. I do think Brock's extremely motivated, though, and that's going to play a lot into it.
Well, what about the fact that Brock's now hailing from Canada?
I don't know. It seemed like such a Brock move. I don't know.
It seems like
he upset about the current political state? I guess I don't know.
No, it was a perfect Brock comment. They were like, "Well, Brock, what's up with you? It's where I live now."
Yeah. Huh.
It's short and sweet. Like,
the most secluded person in the world, Brock Lesnar. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Where I live, bro.
Yeah, I actually didn't know that until you just said that. So,
yeah. I don't know, man. But yeah, I'm gonna pick Brock. I'm not positive on that by any means because Brock hadn't fought in 5 years. But I'm gonna pick Brock and go with ride the momentum wave. But we'll see Saturday night. We'll be back here next week to talk about it and hopefully talk about something good with WWE. We'll probably talk a little TNA again, trying to see how they, maybe not in depth, but at least see what they did to move forward with the positive, direction they've got because of Brother Nero. And if they did anything, or if they pulled a TNA, did the usual TNA thing and just dropped the ball, and that was it. So it'll be interesting to see next week. But for now, make sure you're checking out our website, bswithcsr.com. Follow us on Twitter at bswithcsr. Follow Shane at sshoemaker24 if you want to be offended at insensitive tweets about mental health or any other kind of things.
Absolutely, I'm your guy.
And and follow me at Blake Mitchmore. We will be back next week. Talk to you then.